welcome back. Be inspired, love, and be positive. You gotta laugh.
You gotta laugh.
Yeah, this is your new book.
Yes, it is. Brand new.
Wow,
I
amazing.
birthed it quite recently. So I'm looking good, though.
Yeah.
The title is You Gotta Laugh. But as I say on stage and in the book, you don't gotta. It's just that your stress level is going to be lower when you do. And so it's just a reminder that we were born with this freedom of choice. We're always free to choose how we respond to our circumstances. And so there's always an opportunity to, respond to any change or any form of adversity with humor or any kind of positive outlook. So it's just really a reminder not to take things too seriously. And what I mean by that is really not to take our thoughts about things too seriously, because as we were talking about in the previous segment, when we believe the negative thoughts, that's when stress occurs. So this book and what I do on stage a lot is just remind people that stress is not inevitable. So while we may blame our stress on our external circumstances, the truth is stress is a result of how we process and respond to our circumstances.
So what strategies you suggest that we can do? Is there specific strategies or specific way to minimize stress?
I guess the very first step is to always know that it's possible. It's always possible to create a positive reality in the face of a change or adversity. So that's one of the, I think if you think about it in steps, the first step is just to always constantly remind yourself that stress is not inevitable. I know we don't want to take this accountability sometimes, but the inconvenient truth is we suffer. The stress comes from what we tell ourselves and what we believe about our circumstances rather than the circumstances themselves. Yeah. So always remembering that if we're going to have a stressful experience or experience stress, it is the result of what we're saying to ourselves, what we're telling ourselves, and what we believe. So knowing that we always live with that freedom of choice, that is step number one to stress reduction or resiliency, whatever you want to call it. And then it's about being deliberate. Yeah. Okay, so I have this power. I have this freedom of choice. Well, now how am I going to exercise this freedom? Well, sure, one of the ways we can do it is just simply choose to have a sense of humor about things. Yeah, you can laugh, but you can also, do a lot of other things. You can make a lot of other choices. And as we talked about, optimism is one way. We can focus on even the smallest, littlest positive aspect of some kind of situation, right? Yeah. There's nothing is all bad. But there's also other things that we can practice too, such as noticing that even when you're stressed, it's a sign of being passionate. It's actually a sign that you care deeply about something or someone. Yeah. So there's a big study in psychology happening now that if we notice our stress to be almost a sign that there's something positive at stake, if we go, oh yeah, I'm very passionate about this, I'm very, I care deeply about something or someone, well then that'll actually lessen the stress that we have about the circumstance. Yeah. If we interpret stress as positive. Yeah, it's actually...
Is it easy to do this?
No, it takes practice.
Oh, really?
I think once you learn some of these habits that are available to us, ways to be deliberate with our perceptions and thoughts, well then it's just chipping away at it. It's just practicing it like you practice yoga or anything like that. It's just like, if I just am more mindful of my thoughts and I make these choices a bit more deliberately, when I remember them and I choose to practice them, then maybe they become a little bit more instinctive. You're able to maybe, choose these responses, either if it's more, quicker or if it's just, more at the forefront of your mind. But believe me, I've been at this for almost 10 years now. Yeah. That's how this journey began. It was about 10 years ago. And it still takes lots of practice. Only because our brains are hardwired to be negative. Like I said, it goes back to our beginnings.
I think if I got this kind of attitude, minimizing stress, having a lot of optimistic attitude, I still might be in a term of changes. I mean, whenever I'm having this kind, it might be short-term, positive attitude.
Yes.
I can get a recurrence again for negativity. So how to keep the momentum going on? Keeping up myself.
Yes. And I will say that one of the most important things to do is to go easy on yourself. I actually, a chapter in the new book talks about the downfall of self-improvement. So, you yourself, I mean, you have this TV show, Inspire, and you probably think, well, goodness, I really want to work on my positivity. And then if you slip into negativity, you might actually then start beating yourself up for doing that. And there's an opportunity to cultivate self-kindness, which in a way is to live with positivity, isn't it? So be careful as you want to become more positive to be kind and gentle and compassionate with yourself when you, whatever you want to call it, fall off the wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meeting a lot of people and having a lot of conferences, a lot of speeches, a lot of comedian shows.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, what's the percentage of people you found really optimistic and really positive, having this kind of attitude?
Well, I mean, I'd say, who has influenced it?
No, I mean, what's the
mentors?
percentage of people? I think there's a huge gap for doing this. We need to enhance this kind of positivity and having this kind of optimism within people. Yeah, so I think this is a huge opportunity for doing this.
Yeah, I think the idea of mindfulness is it is now becoming mainstream, and people are writing about it and speaking about it more. But it would be be wonderful to have more voices in conferences speaking about integrating these practices, to cultivate both professional success and personal contentment, living and working with more ease. So I'm excited at the opportunity to not only make people laugh, but also introduce these topics, these concepts, these ideas, while I'm on stage. But I also focus on just making people laugh. There's so much healing in just having a good laugh about, how life dares us to complain, or our human nature, the way that we do stress ourselves out, the way that we can be our own worst enemy. I think it's important to just laugh at that. We mustn't take those things too seriously either. So I use a lot of humor when talking about stress reduction and tools to do that, because I think it's a very personal subject. I think it requires a lot of vulnerability. And it requires people to open up and admit to how they do create struggle for themselves. So if I can do it in a humorous way, if I can get them laughing, I feel that it creates more comfort.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan, very much. Thank you. So all of us, you gotta laugh.
You gotta. I mean, you don't gotta, but it's a good idea.
Thank you. Coming back after a short break. Thank you very much.